Okay, now we're gonna just kind of run through some scenarios that bottom man puts us in. We just covered bottom man's getting to his butt, sitting out, what we're doing from there. Now, let's say bottom man hits a changeover or switch, depending on your terminology. I'm gonna bump forward. Now, the biggest downside to bumping forward and having all this constant pressure forward is it makes us vulnerable to a switch because we're bumping forward and all of our weight's going forward. All Kyle has to do is move his body and look to switch back into me and hope that I fall forward, okay? So that's why when I'm bumping, I try not to get too high up here because all he has to do is change over and I'm falling forward, okay? So when I get set, I'm getting set low, okay? Everything's low and my pressure's coming from here. Now when I bump here, if he goes to change over, I follow him. See how I drop my knees and I'm changing back over to this other side. Okay? So maybe hit a big changeover reach. Okay. So I'm staying low, I'm bumping here, he changeover reaches. He's creating space with his hips, okay? This hip separation, I gotta follow it. So instead of chasing this side back down here, I'm gonna go chase the short side, okay? And this is the reason why we call this a changeover for the bottom man. I'm starting on the right side, Kyle hits a changeover here. Instead of chasing this hip down here, running this way, I'm just gonna change my knees and take this side here. Take the short side. Now, as he wrestles back to his base, I'm on the opposite side of his body, okay? And for me, it's not an issue. I'm just gonna keep riding back to my bump, okay? Now, if I end up on this opposite side and nothing changes, I just go back to my bump here. I'm staying heavy with his hands, okay? Keeping his weight on his hands here. All right, now, one thing I like to do off of a changeover, and I'll kind of show you a couple different things I'm doing here. As I bump forward here, he changes over, okay? I change my knees and I don't try and chase this side. I abandon this side and instead of going to the shoulder, I take it back to the thigh and this hand, this hand that's on the thigh and the shoulder, I'm changing, okay? Go back, change over here, yeah, there we go. So I'm here, okay? I'm gonna change my knees and I'm gonna take everything this way. So everything changed. Here, change my knees, going this way. He's gonna base back up. I can go get this wrist if I can find it. Okay, if I can find this wrist right away, I take it, okay? Most guys, when they change over, they're gonna change over and come back to the base real quick. Okay, I bump, here, change over, here, back to our base. Okay, now nothing changes here. We're back to this ride just on the opposite side. Okay, so one more time. Bump, change over, I fall to my knees, I change. Okay, I swisher, I change my hands, and run back to this side. Wrist, back to the butt, go back through the whole series just on the opposite side. Again, we want to be real careful of bumping here, he changes over, and we're going to get reversed. Okay, we're going to lose the position. So like a little bit like I talked about at the beginning, is we're thinking about hip control, okay? Closing the distance on his hips. He wants to create space with his hips. I want to keep contact. So I'm tight to his hips here. I'm straddling his hips, I'm tight, he changes over. My knees hit, I change. I fall on him and I'm back to my right. I can chop. Okay, we can go to a chop. We haven't covered our chops yet. Here, he's basing, we can chop. Okay, we'll go through that in a little bit next. But for right now, this defending the different positions he's putting us in. He sits out, we crunch him, he changes over, we change with him, we attack the short side. So again, the short side here, he changes. I don't try and follow, I just change sides, I attack the short side, right back to my pressure forward.